Hello again, my friends. Welcome back for another video in John chapter 1. And this video, before we move on to the next section, which has to do with Jesus' baptism, according to John's account, we're going to look at verse 30, because there's something important you need to know about this verse. This is one of those verses that's often misconstrued and pulled out of context, okay? There's like 3 different verses in John chapter 1 that says the same thing but slightly differently. This one right here, let's look at them, all 3 of them right quick. We have, this is he of whom I said, after me comes a man, which is preferred before me, which sounds a lot like verse 15. This was he of whom I spake, that after me is preferred. Oh, he that comes after me is preferred before me. The difference between those 2 verses is going to be the one I read beforehand, a man, but here it's just a pronoun. So that's a slight difference. And then down here in verse 27, I think. Yes, it says, who is preferred before me? He it is who is preferred before me, whose shoes latchet I am unworthy to unloose. So it's this is actually more severely change in structure of sentence, but it's still talking about the same testimony of John. But here we can plainly see we're talking about being unworthy to loosen someone's shoes. We're talking about superiority. So coming back down to verse 13. What I plan to show you is we're not talking about placement in time, which there are those out there that want to present this verse to you as if Jesus pre-existed John the Baptist, especially in light of Luke. If you go to Luke's account, narrative of the birth of Jesus and the birth of John, Elizabeth became impregnated first and then Mary. And then about 6 months into Elizabeth's pregnancy, Mary comes along to tell her the dream. And then the baby leaps in the womb. I'm sorry, I'm getting excited. I love Jesus. Well, I talk about him in prophecy, and it makes me happy, very happy. Sometimes I cry because of it. But if Jesus is younger than John the Baptist, but John the Baptist is saying Jesus was first, this is their gateway to open the door to pre-existence. And I'm going to share with you that this verse isn't exactly translated the way that it's written in the Greek. The first word that I want to look at to bring to your attention is right here, 1096, G 1096. It's genamai. This is the same word used in John 1:14 where the word became flesh. I'm going to show you before I talk to you about it that the word does mean to become. It means to cause to be, generate, that is reflexively to become or come into being. But they said preferred. You have preference and you have to become. Totally different ideas, right? Well, honestly, the reason they chose preferred is because they're trying to express a phrase here. And it has to do with superiority, not placement in time. And that's why they put preferred. After John comes somebody who's preferred before him because he's more superior than John the Baptist. So this translation isn't 100% bad, but it could be better. Because as it is, it leaves a door open for Trinitarians to insert stuff into the text that isn't true. Meaning they're going to speak for the Bible instead of letting the Bible speak. And on my channel, I do the best I can to let the Bible speak. Given that I'm not a perfect human being, I still have a whole lot to learn. So, let's look at what John has to say if we were to change this to become. But before I do that, I have to point out one more thing. This isn't present tense become. This isn't fully past tense. We have 3 different tenses. I made a diagram. I'll try to help you understand it a little bit. We have John the Baptist right here. If something is done in the past tense in the relatively recent, it's a perfect past, okay? And the way we structure that in English is we put a present tense form of have in front of the past participle of the verb. That's how we structure it in English, okay? So it would, and since we're talking about third person, we're going to say has become for present perfect. The Greek does have a pluperfect, and this isn't in the pluperfect. This is in the just perfect. This is present perfect, not pluperfect. Pluperfect, we'll take that have and make it past tense. It would be had become. And then we have a simple past, which would be became. Let me show you. Right here is became. We're talking about the past. Simple past, just a done issue. Okay? Then we have had become, meaning something became in the past. Okay? Not recently. If it was recently become, it would be has become. And that is how John records it. Has become. This is perfect. This is not pluperfect, which is another word for past perfect. Okay? Now we know this is has become. Let's see what the scripture says. This is he of whom I said, after me comes a man which has become before me. Now let's think about something. After John comes somebody who was before him, right? How do you come after if you were before? I'll say it again. How does one come after if they already were before? Meaning they already made existing. So right there should be a pointer that this isn't exactly translated properly. Let's look at this word before real quick so that you can get a better understanding of what it means. Basically, it means in front of. It says in place, literal or figuratively, or time. So in place or time. That's not 100% true. That also means it can mean in rank. This is just a Strong's definition. I like to go outside of the Strong's to get a broader understanding of words because the Strong's basically talks about how words are used inside the Bible. Specifically, how they're translated from the Bible. Well, Greek's a broader language and used in other places besides the Bible. So this is like a narrow-sighted. This word also means in front of and superiority. So let's go back here. We have Jesus is coming after John and has become in front of John. Okay? That's what's being expressed. He came after John and has become in front of John. And this word right here, Hody, gives us a reason for that statement. This is a conjunction that shows the upcoming clause giving us a reason for the previous clause. He was before me. So, the one who comes after John has become in front of John because he was before John, or he was in front of John, or ahead of John. We're talking about superiority. And are you confused yet? I bet you are, and that's why Trinitarians love to explore this verse. These are concepts that you really have to take a time to meditate and think about, all right? Let's look at this word also, protos. Oh, keep in mind that this is a preposition, and it's showing a relationship between the man coming and John the Baptist. That's what a preposition does. It shows a relationship between two nouns or substantives, okay? But this one right here is actually an adjective. So it's describing John, all right? Hold up. For he was before me. Yeah, okay, it's describing John. In contrast to the person. It means foremost in place, time, order, or importance, which would be rank. So let me give you a simple explanation for this verse. In Isaiah chapter 40, there is a voice crying in the wilderness to make straight the way of the Lord. He's telling people to prepare the way of the Lord, that he's coming. He's, I forget what you call that, a forerunner. Okay, so he has a vital position. He's an important person. John's saying after him comes somebody else who is to be made, or has become, I don't mean to say to be made, but who has become more important than him, because he is more important than him. Because this is the one that comes, that brings justice and peace on the earth and takes away the sins of the world. And that is John the Baptist's testimony. We'll get there pretty soon. I think I want to talk about one more verse in regards to John the Baptist to help us understand some things. But right now, this is what I have for you. Jesus did not pre-exist John the Baptist. He came after John the Baptist and has become more superior to John the Baptist, because he has been more superior to John the Baptist, prophetically speaking. Go back to the Garden of Eden. There is a seed to come from a woman, right? What's that seed's job? To stomp on the head of the serpent, to put down sin once and for all. Okay? So that's all that's being expressed here. This isn't pre-existence. Don't be deceived. I love you guys. I'm sorry it's a confusing video. Grammar is confusing, but it's a necessary video. Hopefully you watched it all. Take care.